Hello, my name is Candace Halligan, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of what I've learned about the ways the brain learns, and then also do a quick analysis of our school's reading program. I will start off with how the brain learns. We as educators must make sure that we are making learning to read exciting as well as meaningful. If students aren't motivated to read, they're not going to, and we also need to make it meaningful, otherwise they're not going to remember what we teach them, right? According to SUSE. We also need to make sure that our reading program includes phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. We also need to be providing our students with developmentally appropriate literature, which kind of ties along into Brown University's thought that students need a flexible teaching routine and not a rigid teaching routine. Students are coming to us with several different experiences with literature and linguistics, and our job is to make sure that we are meeting their needs and not just shoving a program at them. And the fifth thing that I want to talk about of how the brain learns to read is through practice. Practice, practice, practice. In sixth grade, we are constantly shoving's not a nice word, but shoving books down our students' volume. The more we can get our students to read, the more likely they are to fall in love with an author, with a genre, the more likely they are to continue reading on into junior high and high school. And so we want students reading, reading, reading. The book that, or this program that our school uses is Journeys. It is a Houghton Mifflin publication, and it was published in 2017, and our school got it before it even was published, so hot off the presses, right? There are several good things about this program. One is that it's structured, and it contains all the components that SUSE talks about in a strong, rich reading program. One of which is that read aloud. It starts each lesson with a teacher read aloud, and it also has places for students to follow along as the teacher reads aloud, which are benefits that SUSE talks about in learning how to read. There is also a mini lesson with direct instruction, which is placed at the beginning of your class period, which is prime reading or prime learning, remembering time. And those instructions are all that mini lesson is often focused on comprehension strategies. There's also vocabulary and word study, and those are taught often through graphic organizers, which connect your new word to your new word to old learning. So, which is also another huge component of brain-based learning. This program also provides supplemental textbooks. In sixth grade, we were able to get Talking Trash, Peak, and Wednesday Wars, which is nice because it gets students some actual books in their hands, something that's a little bit more authentic than an actual school textbook. And the last component that I want to talk to you about our reading program is it does include fluency, which, as we know, is an important one of the 5 components of a strong reading program. Some of the drawbacks that I see to our program is one of the things that SUSE talks about in his book is that students need short, concise lessons. And one Journeys lesson, I could count 15 different skills or components that I'm teaching students, and it's just too much. It's too much for the working memory to remember. It's too much for the students to focus in and really be active participants in the learning. And so as a teacher, I have to go through and sift through what is it that I'm actually teaching my students today and making sure that I get rid of all that extra stuff to make sure that my students are actually learning. I also feel like it's missing some of the novelty that the brain craves. There's not much choice, and students' autonomy disappears in that. Students love to go pick books off of a shelf. That independent reading for lifelong learning is not in a Journeys textbook. While it does have opportunities for whole class discussion and teacher asking of questions, there's not a whole lot of peer-led discussion groups happening in Journeys. And I feel like that's a huge part of my curriculum in sixth grade is forming book clubs and having kids have book discussions in small groups that they lead, that they are in charge of, that builds that autonomy for them and their learning. This is our 3rd year teaching Journeys, and I do incorporate parts of it because parts of it help me be a better teacher. Thanks.